Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Queued Up. I am your host, Greg Dietz. With me always is my co-host, Josh Fisher.
Hey, everybody.
If you're new to the show, what it's about is we watch a show in its entirety on an internet streaming platform, a la Netflix, Hulu, YouTube Red, Amazon Prime, what have you. And we discuss the show with spoilers and everything. So there's your warning. If you have not watched either of the two shows that we are about to discuss, go watch them and then come back and listen. The shows today are Everything Sucks on Netflix and The Tick, which is on Amazon Prime. Also, Josh has a very fun announcement he'd like to throw out there.
Oh, well, in the past week, I've decided to get heavily into marketing. Get our name out there for everyone. And one of the things I have done is I have constructed a website. www.allqueueduppodcast.com, your one-stop shop for all the information about the show and what we do. And with that being
Awesome.
said, which show are you wanting to talk about first today, Greg?
We are going to start with Everything Sucks. As what was I going to say? I don't know. It's new on Netflix. It just came out. It hasn't been out for very long, so and it's a relatively short series. I'm going to hit the timer now. So Josh, go ahead and kind of give a synopsis for what the show is.
All right, well, Everything Sucks. It's a coming-of-age comedy drama that dropped on February 16th on Netflix.
There you
The
go.
plot,
I knew it was recent.
yeah. The plot revolves around two groups of students at Boring High School, which is so named because it takes place in the town of Boring, Oregon, and it's set in 1996. Three freshmen, Luke and his friends McQuaid and Tyler, they are very nerdy social outcasts, and they are part of the AV club. And basically, the main plot revolves around Luke developing a crush on this other girl in the AV club. Her name is Kate Messner. Turns out she's the principal's daughter and a sophomore at the high school. He really likes her, but she has a crush on a drama student, which is the other group of students this focuses on, is the drama club. She's got a crush on this girl named Emmeline and starts questioning her sexuality. So basically, Kate starts dating, so to speak, like a fake pseudo relationship just so rumors about her being gay are not spread around the school. And everything comes to a head when there's an accidentally when Luke's going in to give her a kiss. They're in the theater where the drama sets are. She pulls the fire alarm to get out of it because she was nervous, and it destroys the sets. And that's where the conflict between the two groups arises. The drama club wants their revenge. Those are the main plots.
Yeah, there's a lot of subtext to everything. Now, normally, I'm not into the type of show that would be what Degrassi is, which this show kind of reminds me very strongly of Degrassi.
Never watched
Being a high school
Degrassi.
drama.
Yeah, I never watched Degrassi, but it gave me that kind of vibe very much.
I'll give it this. It's Degrassi is a high school drama. That's what it is. But with Everything Sucks, it tried to be a little bit more freaks and geeks on top of it.
I definitely get that.
I hate comparing it but that's I do comparisons only because I feel like that's a good barometer for where a show is. Here's the thing. I didn't enjoy the show in the beginning. Straight up. Like,
I flat out did not enjoy this show in the beginning, and in fact, it wasn't until episode 5, at the end of episode 5, I said, okay, there was the first enjoyable episode. And
you know what got me into the show?
what was that?
It wasn't the students.
No.
The students didn't get me into the show. What got me into the show was the principal and Luke's mom.
Yep.
Their relationship.
Yep.
That's where I started to connect with things.
Exactly. That and the soundtrack for this show was wonderful.
So
at the end of the fourth episode, Misty, she was watching with me, and she's like, the music's a lot better than anything in this show so far. And I was like, yeah, I gotta agree.
I agree, but also disagree, and here's why. I really hate when period pieces nudge you in the shoulder the whole time going, do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get the era? Do you get it? Like, season 1 of Stranger Things in the beginnings did that for a little bit. I think like episode 1, it kind of felt that way, and then it stopped doing it very quickly.
Yeah.
And Everything Sucks eventually stopped doing it so much. But in that first like 2 or 3 episodes, I was like, oh my god, we get it. You don't have to play a song from 1996 at the end of every scene. We get the era.
There was a lot of 90s product placement, specifically with Gatorade and Doritos, and their quote-unquote vintage packaging back then. And I'm sitting here, and all I could think was like, okay, that's a little bit of horse shit. Gatorade had glass bottles back in '96, but you know what? I'm not going to be that guy. And I just was. I just was. Damn it.
It's a problem. Like, this is my issue with shows. Like, it's currently 2018. 96 was 22 years ago. When I think about that, I go, that hurts my soul a little bit. Simply because I'm going to be 35 this year, and 22 years ago is actually like, a good distance ago. So
you were a freshman in high school when these guys were a freshman in high school.
Right. That's kind of where I'm going with this. That's what technically I was in 8th grade, but whatever. It's like, what's a year's difference in the 90s?
Oh, you had one of those schools too? Our town was so small, we didn't have a middle school. We had kindergarten through 7th, and then high school was 8th through 12th. That's how it was.
No. We had 7th and 8th in a middle school. And
okay.
9th through 12th. I was just pointing out that in 96, I was in 8th grade.
I got you.
But being a freshman in 97 versus 96, like, what's really the difference there? That being said, like, I don't know where I'm trying to go with this idea, because if you make a period piece, if you make a show that takes place in an era, don't concentrate so hard that it's in that era. That's where this show kind of like dips for me really hard, is they try way too hard to make sure that it looks like the 90s. Like, there's a show, The Goldbergs, which is on network TV or whatever.
Yeah.
The sitcom aspect of that show is really solid. The everything else of like, hey, did you remember it takes place in the 80s? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Stop it. My ribs hurt. Stop it. You're nudging them too hard. So that's...
Yeah, there are ways to do period pieces without having to mention, the date, like they do multiple times, or they did excessively use a lot of product placement and things like that. I mean, you could just say in the very beginning, 1996, and just make, small references here and there, but it doesn't have to be hammered down. It was really heavy-handed in this aspect.
There was the beginning of episode 2 when Luke is talking to his mom and he's using like all that in a bag of potato chips, da bomb, like, and they're just like, it's over accentuated. Like, it was when we said it. By the way, we never said all that in a bag of potato chips.
No, actually, me and my buddies, to be different, we would say all that in a cylinder of Pringles.
There you go. But we just didn't say it in general because it wasn't cool. Like, this show pretends that certain phrases and slangs were cool.
Which is really why we did it, because we hated that shit. So we just put a twist on it and just made it even more annoying.
Fair enough. I mean, it did exist in the 90s, but it wasn't to the extent that this show tries to make it seem, which was weird.
Yeah. Like I was saying, it was heavy-handed with that shit. But once it got
Yeah, it was
through
too
that
hard.
after the first 4 episodes, and it finally started focusing a little bit on character adjustment, or character development,
Character
sorry,
develop- Yeah.
it worked better for me. The back end of the show worked a lot better for me than the front end.
Well, what I think made me connect with Luke and his friends so strongly was they were in the AV club.
Yeah.
I wasn't in necessarily the AV club because I don't think that's what it was called when I was in high school, but or at my high school, I should say. But I was involved in video production stuff,
Okay.
also stage stuff. Like I was in theater too for 2 years. So there was a lot of like that connective tissue for me.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to like Luke's development and his knowledge on how to do stuff and the making a movie and all that kind of stuff, like I was involved in that kind of stuff in high school. And I got to give credit where credit's due. It was accurate as hell. like the whole like their movie at the end being extremely cheesy.
Which
Yeah,
I loved, by the way. I loved how cheesy they made that look. That was great.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I adored that. Like, I mean, that's the reason I love cheesy movies to this day. Is because of like that kind of stuff that I made then. So, like, I connected with that a lot. But that connective tissue didn't start until like episode 4. You know, like it didn't
Yep.
really get there because the show didn't know exactly. Well, from my perspective, it didn't know what it wanted to be exactly. It didn't know if it wanted to be a period piece or a character development, like coming of age, or just a like middle-aged crisis sort of show. Like it didn't know.
Yeah,
It was trying to be
all
all of those.
of those at once. I was going to say early on, it reminded me of what a Nickelodeon drama, a Nickelodeon daily after-school drama was. It
Yeah,
had
I
that
think
same
somebody-
feel and almost the same budget because this was pretty low budget. I mean,
Yeah,
the,
I
the,
think I
the
was
production value for a show on Netflix is it's like, wow, really? Huh.
Yeah, yeah. I was explaining the plot to my dad, and he says it sounds like something they'd have on the Disney Channel in the 90s. I was like,
That-
yeah, you ain't wrong.
No, he's not wrong at all.
Yeah, that's why the show didn't start to get good for me until Luke's mom and the principal were forming their relationship.
Man, I really
Like,
enjoyed his character a lot.
Absolutely. And that's what's so weird for me, I think, Josh. Like, I connected with Luke because I was that kid in high school. I connected with the principal because as an adult, I understand where he's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I connected with all the characters who were quote-unquote outcast or different. But none of those elements mesh well until way late in the season.
Yeah. Yeah. It just,
So,
it really struggled to find its way. And it didn't
It did.
find
It got
its
there, but-
way until late. And even then, it's probably 7, 8 episodes in before it really came together. And at that point, it's like, okay, I've invested almost 4 hours of time with this. Do I really want to finish? It's
Right.
like, it became more of, I may as well, what's another hour of my life now that I've come this far?
I think
That's
also
not
I have to do
the-
the podcast.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, that's not the benchmark of what you want in a show.
I agree. I completely agree.
It's not the worst thing I've ever watched, but, it could have been a lot better.
Yeah, and I think if it gets to season 2, it will be better. I will say this much right now. The way that the show plays out, I think the title of the show is a complete misnomer. Like, it is, to an extent, a bad title for the show.
I really do agree with that. I mean,
as-
it ends on a cliffhanger,
like
so,
Yeah, that too. It's also like a not, like... I felt like in the beginning it was trying to be a not funny Big Mouth.
Yeah.
And then, but it found its way. There was actually a scene late in the season. I want to say like episode 11 of 12. That's
No,
right, 12 episodes, 10 episodes.
there were only 10 episodes, yeah.
10, okay. So then it was 8. Episode 8, or 9, again, I don't remember exactly. Luke comes home after the field trip and finds the principal and his mom in the bedroom having fun. Not necessarily having sex, but,
But
And
it's clearly
Luke,
implied that they did. But, yeah.
absolutely. But Luke has his freak out moment,
Yeah.
which was totally understandable. I understood entirely where he's coming from.
Yeah.
He had a terrible trip because he interacted with his father for the first time in a long time. His father didn't even recognize him, or at least it seems that way. And he's pissed. Certain things didn't work out. He comes home to this. Like, I totally get where he's coming from, but there's a moment where the mom was like, we like each other, and you're being a little asshole. And I was like, yeah, Luke, you're being a little asshole. Like,
Yeah.
I was totally against. The show wanted me to connect with Luke in that scene because he was the central part to that scene. We watch him walk through the house. We watch his freak out. We know where he's coming from. We weren't with his parents, or we weren't with his mom and the principal. We were with him. We were supposed to connect with him, but I just kept connecting to the parents, going like, Luke, you're being a little shit. They're in love, asshole.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah, and from both a parent and an adult, from my perspective in that, he was totally a shit. But the young me was that shit. I mean, I would have been I was kind of, like, who do you think you are? I mean, I have a stepdad. He and I did not always see eye to eye or get along when I was younger, and, there were times that things got heated. But also at the same time, her perspective as a mother, when he says to Luke during the moment, he's like, hey, you don't talk to adults that way. And she's like, you don't tell me how to parent my child. You need to leave. It's like, boom, flips the moment there. So I see that was really probably one of the most well done scenes in the entire show because
I completely
of
agree.
that whole dynamic.
Yeah, like it was, like I kept sitting there saying, like, Luke, you need to chill out and understand what's happening. The principal, you need to just shut up and leave because this is going to be between them. Mm-hmm. And the mom, you need to explain to Luke differently than how you're doing it now. You're just sitting there telling him he's an asshole. You're just being aggressive towards him, and it's not going to connect.
Yeah.
Like, I kept thinking all of that because that's just how my mind works. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's to me, like, the reason I bring up this scene is because that's when the show, I feel like, found its place.
Yeah. And the sad thing is that was episode 9 of 10. And it's like I was saying right before that episode starts, it's like, do I really want to go through with finishing these last 2 episodes? And that's not what you want in a show.
Right, I completely agree. I think there are some really solid, good elements earlier in the show, especially with the principal's daughter. Can't remember her name for the life of me for some reason right now.
Kate, yes.
Kate, thank you. When she's discovering her sexuality and trying to figure things out, and like all of that kind of stuff, I think is extremely important. The scene with the concert.
Yeah.
I think
they go to see Tori Amos.
Yeah.
And
couldn't remember the artist.
Yeah, they go to see Tori Amos in Portland. She had her learner's permit, so what do? Her and Luke pretty much take an old beater car that his dad had left behind without permission, sneak out on a Friday night, defying, things that teenagers do. They're doing things, not thinking about consequences, what have you, whatever.
I think it's healthy to be a teenager, but to do that, but...
Yeah, oh yeah. But, the whole time Luke's done this because he's trying to get her to love him. And she had already made it clear, hey, I don't know what I am, but this isn't it. And he wasn't he wasn't reining it in. He was kind of like pushing even harder and, surprising her with the tickets and everything. She sees it as a friend move and she's
Yeah.
appreciative. He's just wanting to do it to get closer to her, but he doesn't realize this either. And all she can focus on, he's focusing on the music and everything. He's like, oh, I learned this music, for you. She's focusing on, she sees a female couple in the crowd being intimate and kissing each other and everything. And you clearly see she's like, this is what I want. This is what I want to be. This is who I am. This is how I want to feel. I want to be able to live my life publicly like this. It seems to, kind of come across her face. And,
Yeah, I don't need a beard anymore. Like, stop.
And, and,
But stuff like that, my point about scenes like that is that scene, a couple scenes later with her and the senior that was mean to her. What the hell is her name?
Emmeline.
Emmeline, thank you, thank you. Those scenes and whatnot, like, they're very important. I thought those were the most well-crafted scenes in the show as well, like some of the more well-crafted scenes, because I'm going to be full-on honest. I think Luke's friends were some of the worst actors in the show, by far.
Oh God, yeah.
So, like, any scene that involved them, I was like, okay, alright, we just gotta... And, oh my god, the boyfriend of Emmeline in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, he was bad. Like...
Yeah, so any scene involving both him and his little protege, those were the worst.
Absolutely. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and give our grades on this show. I'm going to go first, just so I can go last on the tick. See how I worked that around, Josh? With the show having taken its time to get to the place where I think it was a decent show, and seeing how it in itself evolved and became more what it needed to be, much like the characters in the show, which was an interesting, like, if that was intentional, that was very well done, but I don't think it was. I feel like the show is not bad, but it does take some patience. And I think that if this show does get picked up for another season, they will know exactly what they need to do and how to do it, and it'll be a much better show second season than it was this time. With some interesting storylines, amazing music, and whatnot, I'm going to give this show a solid B-.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Like, I liked it enough to want a second season, so.
Oh, okay. Well, you liked it better than I did.
That's fair.
I mean, it struggled. It did have, it had a couple of compelling, interesting characters, but as you said, and as we mentioned earlier, it took way too long for them to get there. Honestly, I don't hate it, but the best thing about it, I really enjoyed the principal. I enjoyed his character. I enjoyed Luke's mom's character. I enjoyed, Kate, his daughter. Some of the other ancillary characters here and there were hit and miss. I did like Stargrove, the AV guy.
That's actually the creator of the show, by the way.
Really? He is?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I hope he.
M. Night Shyamalan himself into the show.
Well, that works. I hope he. If he does get a second season, I hope he can improve upon what was in the first. I'd have to give this a C plus. It's not, it's average, but
so you liked it slightly less than I did.
A little bit less, yeah. But I mean, the production values for what it was, yeah, that's gonna knock it a little bit. The soundtrack helped. Those cancel each other out. But, I mean, it just took too long to find its way. And it was too heavy-handed with the nostalgia early on. It's just, okay, we get it. If you get a second season, Stargrove, because that's who you are from now on forever. You'll be Stargrove to me. If you get a second season, dude, I hope it's better. Because it wasn't terrible, but it could have been a lot. So I give it a C+.
Yeah. I understand where you're coming from. I just felt like I probably enjoyed it. I enjoyed elements of it a lot, I think a lot more than you did. But also I had connective tissue with certain things.
Yeah, and I had less connective tissue in that regard. We didn't even have an AV club in my high school. Of course, I wouldn't have been a part of it. You know, I played sports.
Yeah.
So I definitely wouldn't have been in an AV club. Just because of how.
No, I was like that morning show thing that they had, the boring high school news or whatever.
Yeah.
I was a part of that in 8th grade.
Man,
So
we didn't have that shit.
like when they showed that, I was like, huh, that seems familiar. Guys, if you watch this show and you want to add in your 2 cents, let us know if you liked it more than we did, liked it less than we did. Couldn't get through it because the beginning episodes were just too slow or whatever. Josh, where can they let us know that?
Well, they can let us know on the Facebook discussion group that we've got going on. And that is, you just search for All Queued Up Discussions on Facebook and ask to join. We'll let you in, and, you know, we've got a wide variety of topics and shows that we've discussed.
Yeah, I think when the show goes live, we'll definitely put a pop-up thing in there that says, like, everything sucks discussion and then the tick discussion. So,
you know what? It's a good idea.
I just had that idea. I was like, ooh, we could do that.
That works.
Keep spoilers where they belong. All right, guys, so the next show, as I just kind of said it a second ago, is Amazon's The Tick. Now, this is a different kind of situation where the previous shows that we've always discussed came out in their entirety in one lump sum. This is a slightly different scenario where half of the first season came out last year, and the second half of season 1 came out recently.
Oh, you know what? The Toys That Made Us only has first half of its first season out. And we covered that show in episode 10, guys. You can go back and check that out. Listen to our interview that we did with Mr. Brian Volkweiss. Sorry, I had to do it.
Thanks for the plug. The reason I mention this, the only reason I say this before I hit our timer, is that normally the rule of the show, one of the big things that I wanted to have as an implemented thing for the show itself, is that the show must have all episodes of a season in one lump, and that's what we're reviewing. This is not the case. This had 2 parts of season 1 at different times, so we're just going to review all of season 1 right now. That was my point. Like, it's slightly different, but whatever.
You know, there's still enough content there to justify it. I mean, look at, if you
It's
technically...
12 episodes, so...
Yeah, if you look at it, though, is like Voltron, the way they went from their first season and their second season to suddenly 3 and 4 being just basically what would have been season 3 split up into 2 parts. But they're just making shorter runs. So, you know, I don't think necessarily that it's a hard, fast rule, so much as it's more of a guide.
Sure. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, we're not going to review a show that had episodes coming out weekly, like an episode weekly. We're going to review a show that had every episode come out one lump sum on the internet. That's the rule.
Yeah.
So, anyway, let's get into The Tick. If you don't know what The Tick is, I know that Josh probably has a synopsis up, but as a longtime Tick fan, I'm just gonna throw it out there, just because I love the Tick. So the general idea of The Tick is that Arthur, is it Arthur? Is that his name? Did they change it? It's Arthur.
No,
yeah?
it's Arthur Everest.
Arthur Everest, okay, thought so. Anyway, Arthur is a mild-mannered guy who just lives his life, day-to-day life, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. A long time ago when he was a kid, he watched his father get killed by a villain named the Terror. He grew up to kind of be a conspiracy theorist about the Terror not actually being dead after a superhero named Superion a few years ago had, quote unquote, 13 years ago to be exact, taken him out because all they found was his teeth. His sister, Dot, and a couple of friends here and there are constantly keeping an eye on him because they think that he might go insane one day. And it's not until he decides to act on some conspiracy that he thinks might actually be happening on the docks. And as he's going there to spy, in comes the Tick, a superhero, all in blue, talks like Adam West Batman, and and he is nigh invulnerable. Can leap very high, like a tick, and he has antennae that move and seemingly have no real reason. So he basically goes to the dock. Everyone's shooting at him, but none of the bullets are doing anything but bouncing off like he's Superman. And he...
and I love how he just walks, it's just like this little, side-to-side strut.
Bing, bing, bing.
Your bullets cannot harm me, criminals. Why do you shoot at me?
Yeah, it's because he's an idiot. That's the other thing about the Tick. He's a moron.
He is a blithering idiot, which makes him that much more lovable.
Yes. In the process of the Tick doing this, he blows up the pier, but he gets a suit, a little moth-like suit that Arthur puts on. Now, like I said, I'm a big, big fan of the Tick. I watched the cartoon, read the comics, watched the live-action show with Patrick Warburton. So my nostalgia for the Tick is pretty strong. Now, of course, when I review something that has nostalgia for me, I really, really try to push that stuff to the side to enjoy and properly review the new thing. And I can say wholeheartedly that I adored this new version of the Tick. But here's the funny part. And Josh doesn't have the connective... I keep saying connective tissue. Hey, let's title this episode Connective Tissue, apparently.
I don't have the sinew and the tendon. I don't know where the hell that came from. But...
I don't know either. The Tick never changes. In the cartoon, in the Patrick Warburton, in the Patrick Warburton version, in the comic, he is that over-the-top superhero. He is nigh invulnerable. He is blue. And he is a blithering idiot. That never, ever changes. In all the versions.
But
the biggest difference in the comic, especially in the comic, in the cartoon, and in the live-action Warburton version, the Tick is the central character. He is the main focus. Arthur, of course, is his quote-unquote sidekick, and Arthur is the character that the people watching can immediately relate to, because Arthur is, in a sense, normal, regardless having the tendencies to be a superhero. Kind of. Reluctant superhero. But Tick is still the central character. In this show, he is not.
No.
Arthur is the central character in this show. The Tick is a ride-along character. As a matter of fact, I thought for a long time, I was like, it'd be really interesting if the Tick was just a figment of Arthur's imagination, and everything that had been happening we were seeing through Arthur's eyes, until they started having scenes with the Tick by himself, which then I was like, okay, no it's not.
And, and that was about the third episode in before actually someone else sees him. And because they really let you think that. They let you feel, okay, this version of the Tick is just a figment of his imagination. But no. No, other people were like, yeah, we saw this big blue guy. So it's like, okay, so he's obviously not a figment of the imagination. But it came across that way early on.
Yeah, absolutely. So another aspect to the other versions of the Tick, and this is in all other versions, there are parody superheroes. So in the comic book and cartoon, or if you want to talk about the TV show, there's a character named Deflator Mouse
Yep.
or Batman Well. Both versions are very similar to one another, and they are a parody of Batman. Direct parody of Batman. Because Deflator Mouse is German for bat. Literally flying rat is, I believe, what it means. Or flying mouse, one of the two. Anyway, my family's German. And then Batman Well, played by, oh my god, what's that actor's name? He was in Reno 911. He's a very funny guy.
Which one was he in Reno 911?
He was the, I don't want to say he was the Mexican cop.
Oh,
Because there were
Garcia.
two guys.
Okay.
Yes, he was Garcia.
Okay. I don't recall his name off the top of my head, but I do know who you're talking about.
I know his last name's like Alcarez or something to that effect, but anyway, doesn't matter. And then in the cartoon, there was a character named Lady Liberty, and I think in the live action version, she was named Lady Justice or something to that effect. But basically, it was the same character. She dressed kind of like in the cartoon. She dressed in the comics. She dressed like a maid that also had red, white, and blue aspects to her. And her whole character arc was a parody of how, even though Wonder Woman is this beacon of women being badasses or women being just as good as men in certain aspects, we still treat women less than. Which is why she was dressed as a maid. Yeah, total parody aspect. But in the live action version, she was just like an over the top Wonder Woman. That's all she was.
Okay.
None of that stuff that I just described to you is in the show. Not a single thing of it.
There was a nod to the name Lady Justice in the final episode, or episode 11 or 12. When you actually finally see him leaping and bounding about the city, rooftop to rooftop. And there's that one statue of Lady Justice, the traditional holding the scales and got the blindfold on. And he's like, oh, hello, Lady Justice. And then carries on. I thought that was a cool little nod. Because I am familiar with the old character. But I like how I don't think any of these characters in this show... I have no background knowledge of the Tick. Never read the comics. I just knew there was a cartoon in the 90s, and I knew there was a live-action show with Patrick Warburton, but I never watched them. So I don't know.
Oh, by the way, it was American Maid was her name in the cartoon.
American Maid. Okay.
And then Lady Captain Liberty. Captain Liberty in the
Oh, okay. So maybe it wasn't a nod. I don't know. Well,
that's my point. Is like
just
in the
his buffoonery shining through, I guess.
Yeah. In the but that's my point. Is in the cartoon and the live action version, there are superheroes that they meet up with on a regular basis that are parodies, and with this version, like there are other superheroes. Like clearly, Superion is a parody of Superman.
Yes,
very clearly. But it's not so strong or on the forefront of how it used to be.
Okay.
That's what I liked about this show so much, is that it took a completely different step in the direction that the Tick normally goes.
I do have one question about the other characters.
Okay.
Jackie Earl Haley was wonderfully brilliant as the Terror.
100%.
And the actress Yara Martinez that played Ms. Lent. And then Scott Spicer played Overkill. Were any of those pre-existing characters, or are they completely new for this show?
The only characters that are reoccurring are
of course, the Tick and
Arthur and Dot.
Really? So all these Superior, all these were completely new characters?
Completely new, yeah.
That is awesome. I love...
theming idea...
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say the theming idea of having a superhero-laden world where every other character who is a superhero is a clear parody. Mm-hmm. That's the track record that the Tick has. But
gotcha.
it's the way that the story's told that's different.
And I enjoy that. That's a lot
Also,
of things. Go ahead.
you know what? The VLM is actually a reoccurring thing.
Oh,
I
okay.
believe that was in the cartoon. I believe the VLM was in the cartoon.
Okay, cool. VLM means
I'm
very
actually looking
large man. Very large man. He used to be normal size, but now he's large. No, I really do enjoy that. A lot of times, and people get so upset. Like, I'm going to throw this out in this example. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Everybody's like, they've ruined Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Well, which version of the Turtles are you beholden to? And how does a different take on it ruin it for you? I love the fact that this is doing something new. Even though I have no knowledge other than who the Tick and Arthur were, just by seeing things over the years, being a self-proclaimed nerd. I never got into the source material, but I knew who they were. I like the fact that they're not just rehashing and doing the same thing over. There are premises and themes utilized, but entirely fresh takes are pleasing to me. Sometimes it works out great, sometimes it doesn't. I think this is an example where it worked out great.
Yeah, I think personally, from a nostalgic point, I think it really works. I think from a completely original concept and new idea, it totally works.
So,
I don't think by a long shot the Tick is going to be for everybody. I think that the Tick's mannerisms and the way that he handles himself as a superhero are going to be annoying to a lot of people.
I think that's part of his appeal, though.
I agree. I mean, that's part of the appeal for me.
He's just a bumbling idiot, but God, man, he's just so damn lovable and so
Yeah.
upbeat and positive. Uh, and it's just, I really enjoyed this a whole lot, and I do hope that it gets a second season because I will be all in on that. This was very enjoyable. Jackie Earl Haley, though, man, I love that guy.
He stole any scene that he was
Any
in.
scene he was in, he stole the hell out of it. He's like, I'm not giving it back. It's mine now. It was always mine. Just like the, big Tingle Cola or brown Tingle Cola.
God, that joke had me. I had to take a second. I was like, that's brilliant. That's really smart.
Yeah, it was.
Like, because it's not. Here's what makes it. I'm gonna explain a joke, guys. So here we go. Here's what makes it so smart, in my opinion, is that it's not like Popsy or Crack-A-Cola or something stupid like that. It's just like it's a plain ass name that exists in this world and is as popular as Pepsi or Coca-Cola. That's what makes it so smart. It's making fun of the humans, like everybody's ability to just ignore bullshit, to ignore shit that's in their face.
Yeah.
But that's also half the point. Is like the T in the brown Tingle Cola is his ship.
Yeah.
The T for terror. Oh, by the way, the tiny T that comes out as the escape pod had me cracking up.
Yeah. It looked like the Twitter T, too. Or,
Oh, I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
oh, man. Tinfoil Kevin. What a cool character that was.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen Tinfoil Kevin
You
in
got
other
it!
Tick things. I don't know why because I want to say Tinfoil Hat Kevin, but that's not his name. It's Tinfoil Kevin, and then my brain was like tinfoil. And I was like, my brain just didn't want to work.
Do you want to know where you saw Tinfoil Kevin from?
The actor, sure. I was talking about the character.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, dude, that was Buzz from the Home Alone movies. But, okay.
Really?
Yeah, that was Buzz McAllister, Kevin's older brother from the Home Alone movies that played Tinfoil Kevin.
That's amazing.
And, Alan Tudyk did the voice of Danger Boat, so that was great.
I didn't know that was Alan Tudyk. That's awesome. I mean, that's perfect. That's you mean Steve, right?
Well, I'm not calling
Holy
you Steve.
shit!
I'm not calling you Steve.
Oh my god.
What?
Do you know who else Alan Tudyk played? Pirate Steve from Dodgeball.
Oh, this is true.
I don't know why. That's why I just inhaled. Because I was like, oh my god, he played
Oh,
two
okay.
Steves, and he got that. I feel like he wrote that joke and got away with it.
He probably did. He probably did because that man is brilliant.
That's one thing about this show that I got to throw out there. The acting is phenomenal.
The acting is well done. The special effects, they are not polished and they are a little on the cheesy side, but I think that just adds to this show's charm.
What's so funny to me, Josh, is that the first episode, the pilot, has way better special effects than the rest of the show.
It
But that's
really
also
does.
Well, I don't know if I told you why. Like that's why that it is that the budget for just the pilot was huge compared to the rest of the show. And about, I want to say 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, Amazon had a contest and gave 12 different production companies a bunch of money to make a pilot for their own show they wanted. They put like all 12 shows on Amazon, all 12 pilots. People would watch them and then like vote on the 3 that they thought were the best.
Yeah.
And clearly the Tick won because it got, here we are. But
The one thing that did improve, though, after the first episode was the Tick's costume did look better.
I disagree.
Oh, you don't think it looked better?
I think it looked better in the pilot.
Oh, well.
I feel like in the rest of the series it just looks like a suit. Not like... Because that's the thing about the Tick that... I guess it doesn't matter because it is a new version, but in the other versions it's just like he talks about it as if it's his skin.
Yeah.
Like he can't just take it off. And... but it totally looks like he could just take it off in this. So, whereas the original suit looked like it was more part of his skin and not a suit.
Yeah.
Then again, I haven't watched the pilot in a while. I'll have to go back and rewatch it.
I just watched it a couple of days ago.
There you go. I don't know. I'm very, very happy the Tick is back. For me, the Tick is definitely one of those things that I always enjoy when things that are popular, and right now, let's be honest, superheroes are pretty goddamn popular, get, taken down a peg.
Yeah.
Just a little popular. I mean, it's not like, they're making millions and millions of dollars at the box office on a 6-month basis. It's fine. Black Panther.
Still need to go see that.
It's amazing. Jesus, we're not a movie podcast, but guys, go watch Black Panther. Holy crap, it's so good. And I'm excited for Infinity War, which comes out literally in 2 months. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this show. Like, I think that in the other Tick versions, it's very slapsticky, it's very goofy and silly, and this is a bit less so. I mean, they still do have silly stuff, like the scientist.
Oh, tiny scientist! Oh, man. That was so funny. And then, when he was trying to regrow himself, to normalize himself, and his head grew to normal size, but his body got even smaller. He's like little puppet man. That's what blew me away, though, about this show. Peter Serafinowicz, his portrayal as the Tick. I mean, if you guys listening have ever watched movies such as Shaun of the Dead, the actor that played the Tick was Shaun's asshole roommate. He was also the original on-screen voice for Darth Maul in Phantom Menace.
That's true. I forgot about that. But I think my favorite role of his is in Look Around You.
I have not seen that.
Oh my God, Josh. Oh my God. It is one of the funniest shows you could possibly watch.
Awesome.
Oh my god, he's so the idea of Look Around You. I don't know if you've heard of it. Beyond me just now saying it.
Well,
The idea is, you remember those old VHS learning tapes that your teacher would put on in the middle of school, and it
mm-hmm,
was very boring to watch.
mm-hmm.
It's that, but non-science.
Oh, okay.
It
Well,
is it is the most irreverent humor you will ever see. If I can find a link to videos on
oh,
YouTube, I'm going to send you them
well,
because they are outstanding
okay.
to me.
When it comes to irreverent humor, I am all about that because I have been told that I am one irreverent individual. Uh, as I actually, somebody put in my bio on this website that we have now, they said I was a master of inelegance. So thank you for that.
I'm
What?
gonna say that's your southern accent.
What?
Your inelegance.
No, no. Dialect. My dialect and accent has nothing to do with my lack of elegance. Let me tell you, that's part of the charm. But let's just say I'm not
I
getting
mean,
invited to dinner parties, with the first family or anything like that.
also, if you were invited to that, would you go?
Well, hell no.
There you go. Uh, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and give our rating. Josh, you go ahead and go. Sorry, our grading. Go ahead and go
Yeah.
first, Josh.
I really enjoyed this show. The show is a lot of fun. Yes, it is campy. It is humorous. It's a little silly. It's a little goofy, but that's why this works so well. The acting is solid. The characters they used, I really enjoy this show. I want more of the Tick. I want more of the Tick. I give this show. I've got to give it an A minus. It's not perfect, but it is something. If you like superhero movies at all, you're going to enjoy The Tick. If you like comedies at all, you're going to enjoy The Tick. If you don't enjoy those things, probably not for you. But watch it for Jackie Earl Haley alone. Oh my God. I mean, he's been Rorschach, he's been the Terror, and, oh my God, that man. I love that man. But, yeah.
Let's not forget he played Freddy Krueger at one point.
And
Who was the best part about that movie?
he was good. He was
Yeah.
good as Freddy Krueger. But
Jackie Earle does not get the credit he deserves normally.
no,
in
he
my
doesn't.
opinion.
He is a very underrated, incredible actor. But, he's not the only one in the show, but he steals every scene he's in. And it was always mine, as he says. But, yeah, Tick's a fun ride. I enjoy it. A minus.
Awesome.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I absolutely adored it. Like I said, I'm a big Tick fan, so maybe this is some of the nostalgia seeping in, but from the aspect of how the story's told, in that it took a different turn than the other stuff that I know, where the Tick is not the central character. He doesn't show up until like towards the end of the first episode. The whole premise in the world involving the Tick is so brilliant at the same time that it's just a really fun time to just be in the world for 12 episodes. I sincerely hope that they get renewed for a second season. From what I've heard, they did, but I'll have to double check on that. Or at least they haven't been canceled, so that's good. But it also takes a different turn than the other stories. The other Tick stuff is more cartoony and campy and more kid-friendly. This is not as much.
Oh, this is not kid-friendly at all.
Right. There's a lot of stuff that's like, no. But I think it's also kind of targeting an audience that knew the Tick as a kid.
Yeah.
And going with that. So, I honestly, I loved it. I loved it to death, and I've been trying to get other friends to watch it because to me it's just the right amount of humor and the right amount of drama and the right amount of silly. And I give it an A.
Awesome.
Solid A.
Good deal.
Guess Guys, that's going to do it for All Queued Up this week. Next week, we are going to talk about... Let me pull it up.
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones Season 2. And if you remember earlier in the show, one of our first episodes, we talked about Voltron Legendary Defender Season 4. Well, now we're going to talk about Season 5. Because that show's good.
Yeah, it is.
But, as Josh and I had pointed out, there are 6 episodes to Season 5 of Voltron.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be a movie or something that we add into the next episode. I don't know. We will see. When we get there, we get there. Josh, why don't you tell them where they can follow us on social media in case we post that we're going to be watching a new show?
Well, that would actually be posted on our new website. That is www.allqueuedup.com. There would be an episode listings page there, and that's where we make the announcement of what the next episode's going to be about. So if you guys want to watch the episodes beforehand, so you can listen to the podcast as soon as it loads onto Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or our YouTube channel, you'd be well prepared and caught up to do so you wouldn't have any spoilers at all, if that's the thing that concerns you. Also, any type of news announcement we make, we do have the Twitter account, which is at Queued Up Podcast, and we have an Instagram account, All Queued Up Podcast on Instagram. But along with the Facebook discussion group, which is All Queued Up Discussions, those are all the places they can find us. But everything is centralized at the website, www.allqueueduppodcast.com.
I cannot describe how delighted and appreciative I am that Josh has put so much effort into making this website look as beautiful as it does.
I did not do that alone.
I was getting to that.
Yes. First of all, if you've seen any of our promotions, our images, our new banner art that flanks the podcast name, we have cartoon versions of both Greg and myself. Those were done by my great friend, Genocide Squirrel is his handle on Twitch. He goes by, on bleh. Did you hear that? I got tongue-tied. I usually don't get tongue-tied.
It sounded like your brain's gears got like an acorn stuck in them.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know why that's where my brain went with the acorn. Maybe because squirrel's running on a...
Because of squirrel, exactly. But at AZ Squirrel on Twitter, and McKay, his wife, at McKay_77 on Twitter. Genocide did our artwork. McKay helped me do some coding on the website. Oh, it's at Squirrel AZ. I'm sorry. I said at AZ Squirrel. It's at Squirrel AZ on Twitter.
It'll be on the YouTube channel's main page, like the picture screen, so you can type it in.
Yeah. When you watch the YouTube video, if you watch it, those names will be plugged in. But McKay builds, Genocide's an artist. McKay does websites. She says, hey, I like the look of your site. Can I offer you some suggestions to tweak it and polish it? And last night, she and I conferenced on Discord, and she helped me. I gave her the rights to, do so, to make some changes, and she helped put some spit and polish on this site that we couldn't be more proud of. And she showed me and taught me some things.
So good.
She showed me and taught me some things too, and I learned some things about CSS and HTML coding, and it's not easy. People don't realize how much work goes into a website. They don't think about it, and it's not just, okay, that's done, and move on. It's never done. You find a look you want to go with, and then there it is. But I'm really proud that I have wonderful friends like Genocide and McKay. I'm really proud that I have wonderful friends that have helped contribute to our show for Greg and me.
One of our big helps when it comes to the audio is Balthasar, also known as Cody.
I love Cody so much. He has been teaching me audio, and he's turned me on to some things. So I'm hoping now with the tools that he has given me, the knowledge of that this is going to be our best sounding episode yet when it comes to the audio, finalized audio. So,
which delights the hell out of me because honestly, as I've stated before, this podcast was just an idea, like, and I think a lot of ideas should start this way as a thing for fun.
yeah,
I wanted to talk with a friend who I felt like I could have conversations with about shows that I was watching. And I felt like a podcast was a good way to do that. Also kind of get out of our comfort zone with what we like to watch and maybe don't like to watch, like Devilman Crybaby.
oh,
And
thanks, Anthony. Package show
and
up yet?
the fact that it's evolved to this point, the fact that we have a lot of you enjoying the show. When I go to the YouTube channel and I see over 50 people listening to it, and then also like the numbers that Josh has shared with me on the other platforms, I'm extremely excited for the future of this podcast. And I couldn't thank you guys, I couldn't thank you listeners, I couldn't thank the folks that have been helping us enough. I can't thank you guys enough. And there's no other way of gratitude to give you other than saying thanks right here. Because for a guy who's been struggling to make projects he's done successful and failing time and time and time again, and to finally feel like this might be the first successful one, it makes me well up sometimes. So, again, guys, thank you so much.
Yeah. It's a wonderful thing to be a part of. I'm having the time of my life doing this. I've learned a lot of new skills doing this in a very short time, in less than 2 months' time. Look at what I've learned on my end. I've learned how to record and edit and create a video slideshow, doing video editing, website building. I'm learning CSS coding, doing the marketing and everything. This is all the shit I've learned in the past, since New Year's. Here it is. It's the last day of February as we record this. And I'm having the time of my life. And, dude, I just want to thank you for doing this. Thank Anthony for giving us our start. Thank Genocide for the art, McKay for the website assistance, Cody for the audio tips. I love all those guys. And I love you, man. Asking me to be a part of all this is just Love Fest 2018 right up in here. Slide up in.
It definitely feels very serendipitous, and I'm
go ahead and slide up.
Extremely happy about all of it.
Go ahead and slide up.
But we should probably end the podcast
because
I think
Come on.
I think we've recording about an hour now, so let's go ahead and wrap it up, Josh. Guys, you can follow me at Chubrock Geek on Twitter. That's where I will post most of my stuff. You can follow my Twitch channel at Chubrock Geek. That's twitch.tv/Chubrock Geek. I stream there occasionally. That's up to your own discretion. I also have two different podcasts, two different things I do on Mission Start P, which is twitch.tv/Mission Start P. One is a Sunday video game news podcast. And then Thursday is a Let's Play show with Anthony himself. If that's something you're interested in, definitely come check that out. Josh, why don't you go ahead and give your link dumps?
Oh, my link dumps? All right. You can follow me on Twitter at Ensabahnour1976, ENSABAHNUR1976. I don't tweet out a whole lot, but when I do tweet, it's usually something amusing or worthwhile. However, I do have a Twitch channel. I think that still exists. I have streamed one time this year, but that's at twitch.tv/Ensabahnour76. Same spelling. But give me a follow on those, and, maybe we'll have to do some Jackbox gaming one night soon.
Absolutely. I'd actually like to be a part of that if we can plan that out properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, that's going to do it for us. It was a lot of fun. I'm really glad we got to talk about the tick.
Oh, yeah.
That was very... I heard that they were doing the second half was coming out. Like, my Twitter account was, like, constantly like tick, new tick, and I was like, we're talking about it, Josh.
Hell yeah.
And I know Josh is very excited about talking about Voltron. Cause,
I mean, I'm always excited to talk about Voltron.
but guys, thank you again for being here, and we will see you next time.
Take care, everybody.